So in our first one, we have a couple, AGI of $35,000, and they have the following items. Again, typically you go through the list and say yes or no. And so medicine, drugs are good, doctors are good, health club membership recommended by the family doctor for general health, that's not good. You know, one of my doctors that I have is bigger than me, and he says, you know, you ought to lose some weight, get to the gym more often. And I kind of looked at him and I go, yep. And he goes, yeah, I know. Where my other doctor is fit and lean, he says, hey, dude, you got to go work out, you know. So it's not like, so you're prescribing this, can I? He goes, no, just do it, you know. So bottom line is that is not allowed, that's $400. And medical care insurance $280 is, so it's like how much may they utilize as medical expenses in calculating their itemized deductions. It's really, you know, medicine and drugs $300, doctors $3,000, medical insurance $280. So therefore, their total costs were $3,580. Sometimes your question is going to stop right there. You know, they'll say, what are the qualified medical expenses before the AGI limitation? Okay, this one doesn't even have that as a possible answer in there. So that basically implies that you take your adjusted gross income of $35,000, multiply that times 10%, and you've got a threshold of $3,500 that you have to get over. They're over that by an incredible $80. So if you think back to that form that we had, what you would see in that first box is $3,580. You wouldn't see any detail to that. You'd see 10% being $3,500, and you'd see 80 out in that outside column, and you'd be all done. Okay? I'm going to do similar things to this, so I'm going to do 3 in a row, some that don't require computations but identification. Let's do questions 5, 6, and 7. All right, so we got Ruth and Mark. They filed a tax return, and they had the following expenses relating to something medical for the sole purpose of improving their physical appearance and self-esteem. They talk about a leading introduction to this, but Ruth had a facelift performed by a licensed surgeon, and Mark had a hair transplant performed also by a licensed surgeon. So both of those are surgery. Both cases you're under the knife or you're doing something on a surgical basis, and that was $8,600. And folks, they're going to ask the question of you, you know, hey, can I deduct it? It's like, Mark, you look really cool there, you know, with the hair and all, but you know, it's still not deductible. You know, that's basically cosmetic surgery. And so the question is, how much may be claimed as qualifying medical bills without regard? You notice it says without regard to the adjusted gross income, and the answer is 0. None of those things basically qualify. We will take a look at another one that'll make you feel a little bit better, but that one's 0. Which of the following expenditure qualifies as deductible? Vitamins for general health? No. Health club dues? No. Transportation to the physician's office for required medical care? Yes. Mandatory employment taxes for basic coverage, and the answer is no. You know, so those things don't. The answer is C. And then question 7, which I have behind me on the board, is John 70. Keep 70 in mind because it's important later on. And he has an AGI of $35,000, and he incurred the following costs. He has drugs and medicine, yes. Health insurance premiums, yes. Doctor's fees, yes, assuming that it's not for cosmetic or anything bad like that. And eyeglasses, 75. So basically, I just put those up on the board. We got the 3675, which is the same thing. So everything qualified on that list. He received a $900 reimbursement. So that $900 reimbursement brings me down to a net of $2,775. It then says, all right, his AGI was $35,000, but because John is 65 or older, he has one last year to use the 7.5% rate. And so 7.5% of $35,000 is $26.25, and therefore his allowable medical expenses after adding every receipt up for John is going to be $150. Okay, so that's what he gets for it. And I don't know if you've had to do this before. And again, I have to keep remembering I'm doing a CPA review course, not a CPE course, where you're talking about your clients who are idiots. You know, they bring in all their copays and they go, can you add them up to see if I exceed that amount? It's like, seriously? And it's like 20. And I mean, I'll add up anything for a fee, you know, but bottom line, you got to get to this number, subtract out this, do that test to get to this $150. It's just kind of cute. Let's do one more question. Let's do question number 9. So in this question, we've got a single taxpayer, AGI of 100,000, and has 2 unreimbursed medical expenses and wants to know if he can deduct them. One, he had a serious fall and had some doctor bills for that, $5,000. That should be fully deductible, no real issues there. The second one is cosmetic surgery that was necessary to correct a congenital deformity, $15,000. There could be a lot of reasons why this took place. You know, somebody says, look, yeah, we know that this is a problem with this person. Later on in life, you want to may have surgery to correct that, but it was a congenital deformity. It could be something wrong. Seriously, it could be something wrong with your breathing, your nose. It could be something wrong with your throat. But they have to do this, and then it takes cosmetic surgery. So I've actually looked up different things, and it's like, okay, I can see where that would be a medical necessity as opposed to I just want to look better. So both of those things qualify. He has no medical insurance, so the question is how much would be allowed as a deduction. You add those two together, you get $20,000. $100,000 is his AGI, 10% is the threshold, that's $10,000. Therefore, the allowable piece is $10,000. Okay? So I think it's a pretty straightforward question. The focus of this question, of course, is the second one being the cosmetic surgery that was necessary. Notice also that it was a more current question still. Anything that I have with an R in front of it is always, in my mind, it's a current question. It's part of the pool that it's like, all right, this isn't like something was given back in the 1940s or something like that. It's good and relatively recent.